many times, but again, that could be very rough in the early lane. You know it's going to outscale you later on in terms of the amount of DPS it's going to put out. So Ultra Prime now thinking about bot laners. And hey, even if this did get punished in terms of jungle involvement in game 1, they still were able to pull out the win. If this time around they could get, you know, on the better end of jungle attention, maybe we'll see a lot better performance coming out from Elk and Miaoniu.
I mean, there's no trundle on the side of View as well, but let's see what the response is. So that bottom lane locked in here, Lyric. Aphelios taken away this time. What is the follow-up for Xing and Kedaya?
We've actually been one of the bot laners that have felt comfortable even just going back to things like the Jinx, but no! Actually gonna pull out the Varus. Man, I don't know the last time we've seen a Varus in LPL.
We have had no Varuses this split for sure. So, Varus, last time we saw him, Lyric, probably, I mean, we were getting a little bit of on-hit Varus, let's be real. Not this split, but last split there was like a couple. However, you know, we haven't had old school Varus with lethality, which, let's be real, probably won't be. But it's just been a hell of a long time, he said.
I mean, especially when you know it's being paired alongside a Lulu, right? Should be more about that on hit coming through and being able to play that big DPS role on the opposing side. Is some potential kill pressure there at level 6 if they can get you involved with the chains of corruption that are able to come through from Xing. So I love it. Once again, WE, I think signaling maybe going to play down towards that bot side again, but Hacker getting his hands on his signature pick. The Lucian, always been what he's gravitated towards throughout his career. Could potentially set up for a really strong mid-jungle setup. And Ultra Prime already looking to take away the Silas from Shanks.
Because they do get themselves a strong mid-pick, right? You talked a little bit about the Azir, both teams playing it. For Cryin as well, Lyric, anything else that steps up is, hang on, Azir not going to be taken, instead just banned away.
For Ultra Prime now, I wonder if they just go for the blind pick Lissandra. Because, right, Lissandra, Ahri, still the two, I'd say, big name picks left open that I'd expect. And, I mean, you might as well go for the better end of that matchup, the FCC, to set up for the Lucian itself. And WE, I think, now in a bit of an awkward position in terms of what they can look to ban in mid lane. So, maybe once again, give one ban up to the top side, and they do. Good call, taking away Hery's Gwen.
Absolutely. Mention the blind Lissandra. You also mentioned the Ahri. Cryin now has the option for both, and for Ultra Prime, they'll give their counterpick to their top side then, Lyric, which gets me a little bit excited as mid just keeps getting hovered over. I'm pretty excited because, I mean, for Hery last game, blind Gwen comes up, does well in the laning phase against Demon. This time around, he has the counterpick angle, and there's a lot of top laners open.
Still, I feel like Ultra Prime going to need some engage in that top side, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we see like a Sejuani or an Ornn what comes out. But it's going to depend on what WE go for here. I mean, this time around, we also do have things like the Jax. If they did want to get Demon once again on a comfortable pick that we've seen him play this split, that you feel decently fine in blinding, unless Hery would be willing to pull out something along the lines of a Rumble, which we have seen this split. Shanks going for the expected Lissandra since Cryin didn't pick that one up. Again, a matchup we've seen many times. And yeah, I mean, I'll just guess the Jax for Demon, unless they want to go for something he hasn't really played much of. The Gnar, a much safer blind, but we've only seen him play it once so far. Yeah,
true. I mean, last game wasn't great on the Fiora where he took the matchup. This time, he's going to be in deeper water. You did say, though, Ultra Prime need more engagement, Lyric. How much do they care about that?
I'd love to see them just go towards the Sejuani if they want to round out the comp nicely and bring some of that engaged towards top side. With the smiles, with the jovial laughter. I mean, if they did decide to lock in something like the Yasuo and go for one of those like older, more tried and true counters that we have seen like here or there, you know, globally, or even like thinking back to internationals. And no, surprisingly deciding to bring out the Gangplank. Gangplank is something we've seen a lot less of since the changes have come through.
True. Crit chance changed away, and Lyric now no engage. So for Ultra Prime, what is your game plan? Just hoping that WE go in and you just hit them as they try and get out.
I think Ultra Prime's comp to me has to play a lot more around picks, right? You have the single target burst coming out through mid jungle. You have the single target lockdown coming from your Ahri, and trying to play through that mid jungle squad, mostly enabling your bot lane and trying to make sure that they don't get punished the same way they did in game 1. You also know at level 6 you're going to have the cannon brush to be able to enable that. For WE this time, I actually think that they're sitting in a pretty solid position if they can make it out through that early game, because this time around, they have a ton of engage. They still have a lot of DPS coming down from that AD carry role.
Yep.
And unlike Ultra Prime, who not only don't have really much engage, they don't have a front line either. WE having the Gnar and the Wukong on top of the Wild Growth will give them a lot to work with if the game goes late. We just need them to be more decisive than they were in Game 1.
Well, for WE in Game 1, the laning phase was where they went well. But you're right, the indecisiveness came into the mid-game, and that lead didn't mean too much. Ultra Prime took a Game 1 that should have been theirs and sent them to match point, which is where we are now. If WE lose this game, or let's just say lose the series in any capacity, they will end 0-16, which is a record that only V5 have been able to set in LPL history. Even when we had East and West conferences, there was no team that went flawless in defeat. It is something you don't really want to hold against your name, but also something that, you know, a lot of fans have been looking forward to. Let's be real, because Ultra Prime as well looked good in game number 1, and in game 2, you did talk about this comp building up a bit of an early game here as we head into Summoner's Rift.
I think especially when, again, just talking about the lack of frontline, the real lack of lockdown coming through from their side, that's why I look at them to need to be the ones to accelerate. But WE might even once again have another way of finding an early game advantage, trying to settle. As we see what happened here on the bottom right-hand corner, nothing. Yeah, very close, but didn't even need to burn a flash. Just manages to walk away.
Yeah, View not I don't think he started W either, so I believe he still got a relevant summoner spell as Cryan's walking in. They're in that brush to the left-hand side of your screen, between Cryin, between Elk. WE not walking in yet as we pan to the top side. I'm more interested in bot side. Get away from this barbecue lover. I don't care. I want to know how this invade goes, Luke, because it is actually going to be a blue side start. And View, once again, says, hey, bot lane, I got you.
WE, once again, just finding small advantages. We'll see if Ultra Prime do sniff this out from the way that they're walking the lane. I mean, Ultra Prime should know now that an invade was able to come through from the side of WE. And once again, we saw them able to take advantage of the level 1 difference last time around. Going to be even more true coming into this game.
I mean, you pointed out last game, didn't even think of it. The level 1 of Lucian Nami. We always talk about level 3, but the level 1 not adding too much means Xing and Kedaya yet again walk into this lane and do some really good poke damage. Miaoniu has started with the ebb and flow, though, so Elk gets healed up, but Kedaya and Xing still moving forward aggressively, with View now heading back towards his own side of the jungle. Not spotted on that ward, I believe, so they still don't know that this Wukong's here.
Still, Hacker now being the top side again. I think they were able to siphon out from the way that the bot lane duo did, come to lane. So he will look to steal away some of these camps on top side.
Oh, there you go.
And now kind of having a bit of the split map situation coming through. And yeah, now seeing their bot lane come through, check what camps are left open just to confirm that this was able to come through. And at the very least, looks like Hacker should be able to get 2 camps away from View. So we'll end up an even trade in terms of jungle camps.
And just quickly, before we go any further, as Ward again not spotting him out, I like that you mentioned the bottom lane moving across, because we were just looking at Varus down on the bottom side. Last one to pick it out was Gala on the 13th of April. So spring split, it came through. It's been 123 days since, and Xing is breaking that on the very last day of the regular season of LPL. Has a big CS lead here, Lyric, is 17-3 right now with a massive wave pushing in. All eyes on bot lane once again as this wave sets up for what we know.
I also just love how View re-invades just to take the final camp. Takes 2 camps, leaves, comes back, and now, like you said, trying to angle for this play, but Ultra Prime know it. They've learned from game 1.
Yeah, Hacker being here as well. Elk with a good trade as the heal comes out, but Hacker to save the day. And he's got Safeguard with a Sonic Wave as well. Look at that early game damage. View struggling as he's already burnt the flash. The ward to get him in focus, and View is punished. Hacker learns, and that's going to be first blood to Ultra Prime.
Great adaptation coming out from Ultra Prime. This is why we love best of series. So you can take what went wrong in game 1 and figure it out going into game 2. So Ultra Prime this time around, I mean, actually being the ones to come out with an early game lead. Their bot lane still behind in CS from what we've seen in terms of the trading coming through, but now going to be able to find themselves a bit of an advantage in terms of kills, in terms of the jungle that is coming into play.
True, Hacker stealing away some of the Raptors, so that's when you get a KFC coupon and use it to your full advantage. Hacker's also up on CS with that first blood picked up for himself and equalizes the map status quo a little bit more, Lyric. As we look here on the bottom side, Still didn't spot him out, but as you said so nicely before, they knew, due to the bot lane movement towards their own camps, they knew as well they had a suspicion with how Xing and Kedaya moved into lane. And that was enough for Hacker to fully commit and make themselves better for it with Ultra Prime having a 1k gold lead here at the 4-minute mark. And bot lane going back to a nice bit of neutral despite the ATS difference at the moment.
I think it's, you know, you can read it off the fact that, like, you know the invade came through, you know they're stacking a wave, they're looking for these heavy trades, like, everything's just telegraphing that they're going to look for that same dive again, so Ultra Prime with a good read. Mid lane so far, been a bit of a wash. Cryin actually being the one to be up in this matchup so far, and maybe even looking to combo with Hacker. And we said, right, mid jungle is one of the places where Ultra Prime can potentially look to find an advantage. Top, we kind of expected to be a wash. Hery been doing fine on this Gangplank. And even to, like, revisit the Gangplank changes on this patch, pretty much to TLDR is, like, they took away a lot of his, like, base stats and, like, nerfed some of his base damage, but tried to up the base damage, you know, with more levels and durability. So trying to make it so his late game's still good, adding crit to the passive as well. But still doing so fine in this matchup. But that matchup apparently doesn't matter because View has a one-track mind, and it is still all about this bottom lane.
Where's my buff? My blue buff's coming up, he says. He's waiting for it, and Xing and Kedaya doing that well against Elk as the piercing arrow, which is so good. The damage enough to threaten them off as Shanks is now moving over a ward as well. He's level 6 Lyric. And with a 4 versus 2, Cryin needs to come down pronto.
Look at Hacker.
Hackers, yeah, again, in the right path. Aqua Prison not connecting, though, will mean WE hold a bit of flexibility. Sonic Wave is there as Glacier Path taken. Hacker into the backline, not having 6. He flashes out from the prison, but look at Ultra Prime's damage as Hacker runs for his life. Elk survives. They're still under the turret as Cryin is getting reset. A triple kill at 6 minutes into the game. Kedaya has to watch as the map burns down. This time around, the revenge comes from Ultra Prime's bot side.
And it's so sad for Team WE. Everything they were able to do right in Game 1 is just going wrong here. A great read by Ultra Prime. Once again, like, knowing that this play is coming through, bringing Hacker down in time. Cryin, huge now, 3-0-1 on the Ahri. And heck, we already saw Ultra Prime had a really solid mid-game last time around. It's only going to be better this game.
I can't believe Hacker has just flipped a switch and is so aware at this point. A 3k gold lead at the 7-minute mark will look again because almost turned into a quadra off the back of WE setting this up.
And they were so close to getting onto Miaoniu, flashing away right before the ult comes out. And even there, Shanks kind of delayed on getting the ult on the Lissandra, so he doesn't go down. And the whole time, damage coming from Elk and Cryin onto Shanks is able to turn the numbers so quickly. And once the resets come through, everything is just going positively for Ultra Prime.
Triple kill over to Cryin. 3-0-1. Ladies and gentlemen, it ain't looking good. For WE, the team that is trying to avert the, I guess, the miracle, anti-miracle run, we should call it. This early game is not what you want if you're a WE fan out there. 2-0-3 on the Lucian as well. Hacker now has 6 and more of that gank potential, Lyric. And I guess my question to you now should be, how do you avert disaster? How do we start talking about these level 6s for WE when the gold lead looks so imbalanced?
I really wish you would ask me these questions before the gold lead starts to snowball.
I didn't know we're going to get a dive at level 6. I mean, I didn't know we're going to get 4 people. Everywhere else, they're like, oh, durability. Okay, take a little bit away. They're still a bit scared to dive. LPL's like, yeah, I need my dose of diving. Let's go. Into a 6v6 here as Hacker jumps on in view with the Cyclone. But guess who's back in action? Elk giving over the kill is Cryin out max range with a flash available. He's got a charm, and that wasn't angled too well. But at the very least, WE's jungler now 0 for 3. That's one way to get a good view of this second game.
And this is where we're coming into where, like, item advantages are going to start to make the difference, right? Cryin having that lost chapter in mid, able to get the push, able to make his way down towards bot side first. I mean, if you want to talk about maybe ways WE can try to change their plan of attack, is maybe instead of attacking bot lane directly, which is what it looks like they're trying to set up now with Shanks moving over, getting vision in enemy jungle, maybe with the since your bot lane can get prio, playing more to trying to find picks onto Hacker in enemy jungle rather than committing to bot lane, to where, again, stacking these waves, going for these heavy trades can just telegraph these plays so easily.
I mean, Hacker, like, clears red buff, probably going to be heading down bot. Xing has himself the Chains of Corruption. Going to be used onto Elk, who flashes it. Now pressuring underneath the turret. View is back again. You got to give credit to LPL, Lyric. They will always double, triple down.
And heck, they have been getting plates, right? They're very close to being able to take down this turret. despite the fact that they're the ones giving up kills in this lane. Elk and Miaoniu haven't even touched a turret plate on WE side down in that bot lane.
There's a 30 CS lead as well, so for everything that's gone wrong for WE, at the very least, their bottom lane is still thriving in some regard. Shanks not falling too far behind as he continues moving against this mid, and View still keeping up with CS. So you look at the wards in the bottom side, Lyric, and you can kind of see that WE won't be giving up. They've got a ward down here, another control ward there on the side of Gromp as well. But look, sorry, that was Ultra Primes. I was going to say, look at WE's vision in River. Look at the commitment.
I mean, like you said, LPL teams just know to quadruple down, but I feel like we're done with bottom lane for now because it's 10 minutes. Rift Herald has been up for a whole 2 minutes, Hysterics, and no one has even looked at it. How dare they?
Too busy looking at bot, I guess.
Gromp has a nice outfit on. They've done hair. They've bought some nice wine. They're just ready. They were just ready for someone to come, wine and dine them, have a good evening.
Yep.
And even now, Ultra Prime actually make their way towards top first, but they try and find a pick onto mid, and looks like it wasn't successful.
We're going towards Dragon instead. They're into the enemy jungle for WE. Shanks and Kedaya spotted out here as Miaoniu has the tidal wave. He's going to launch it into River. Shanks has to flash without a glacial path available. And Ultra Prime now forcing them out. 4 members here of WE, Lyric, but threatened for the time being, as it just will be an ebb flow moving into River in response.
It's kind of, that was so close, but also not close at the same time as WE. I like that they stick to their guns at bot side because that's where they had all their vision, and they're even still trying to all in on this pick.
Yeah, onto Hacker. He's got the ultimate available. He's just caught out. His flash is available. He knew they were still hovering there as Cryin was coming in, trying to find the angle. Culling is in the mix of it as Cryine's Spirit Rush is still available, but that's just greedy from Hacker.
And, I mean, for WE, I mean, kudos to them, right? They didn't fall in the trap of going for that Herald because of all the vision that you highlighted on the bottom side. They stuck to their guns. They pushed out that lane. And it seems like Ultra Prime felt like they were under too much threat to just start up the Herald themselves. It's like, hey, if we do this, we're giving over bot turret to the side of WE. They still have vision. They might be able to pivot that into a Dragon. So they tried to come back bot side to defend and make sure that this didn't go through. But WE, with the patience, able to find that pick on the Hacker was quite nice.
Our cameraman just having an easy time. Doesn't want to go anywhere else. Looking constantly at the 2v2. Lyric, I don't even get time to blow my nose in LPL, you know. Hey, look, we're looking at top side. Do you remember this lane? Oh, those were the days.
Yeah. And, you know, surprisingly enough, looking at the map holistically, looking at gold, like, I think Ultra Prime got up to, like, 3K gold at one point. Now it's just under a 2. So WE... Sure, again, giving over those kills, but the fact that they're able to keep these lanes going even in mid and top and actually be up in the bot lane has been keeping them in it just fine, especially when we hit on, right? Them being the ones that have frontline, them being the ones that have, you know, this AoE CC coming out in the jungle, having the ability to lock people down from Shanks as well, should set them up quite well if we get to the stage where we are going into full-on 5v5s.
Yeah, we talked about it, you know, for Ultra Prime as well. The ability to find picks has been good, but at the very least, we know they've just been responding off bottom side for now. Starting up the Herald, better late than never, Lyric, but it is very late as Elk's trying to take away the blue buff on a ward for now. But View and Kedaya aren't willing to commit with Miaoniu around the corner, and I guess with Cryin sitting in the mid lane. So blue buff just taken, denying away some of the camps. Well, Shanks gets caught out a little bit in the mid lane, but that's about it.
Shanks having to hover down towards that bot side because WE wanting to use Kedaya and View to hover around and zone Elk out, but Ultra Prime actually moving to mid.
Okay, well, Shanks avoiding that. There's going to be a bit of plating taken at the very least, and so the Herald's not going to be a complete waste. This will actually go down, Lyric. I mean, you look at the damage with all 4 members. WE are going to lose their first turret through mid, and Ultra Prime have just cracked this map wide open.
Ultra Prime, great job of moving their bot lane over because WE were expecting to commit them bot, which is why they brought View down towards that bot side, hoping to find a pick. But they just 4-man mid, circumvent that, accept that turret's going to go down, but are able to find, you know, not even an even trade, right? They're trading up considering they're also able to get this inner turret so low, as we saw team in all-inning Hery, forcing him to flash. Rough.
Yeah, a little bit rough. Hery with no summoners available, Demon with both. Hery's going to try and stop the back here as a good bit of damage coming down. Unleash Teleport, of course, we can all see as Demon will have that up and available if there is any shenanigans around Dragon. But for now, it has been a very slow neutral game. It has been a game where Ultra Prime have not really been pulling the trigger around these neutrals, Lyric. It's been all about the blood and responses bot, while Dragon, Herald even only taking it 13 minutes of the game is a new one for me.
Yeah, very surprising that wasn't able to come out sooner, but still a lot of that coming from WE's own aggression towards that bot lane tower. But now, with no Herald on the map, with Dragon still up, I would expect teams to more willingly look to fight for this. Bot laners in mid to try to contest that prio. WE should be able to keep it up like we just saw, but actually WE maybe even going to try and find a pick onto Hery, considering that he doesn't have that flash up on the table anymore.
Ward is on the top side, though, and Hery close to the cannon barrage. So, does WE spot this one out? This GP is just going to back all the way back, as Cryin now sits on bottom side against Demon. And you can see that Elk feels a little bit safer with some of that vision control placed up towards the top side. Hacker now moving down, though, Lyric, and I'm not sure what he can find. It's going to depend on a charm.
And they're first waiting for that Mega Gnar to time out, right? So trying to get that wave in as slowly as possible. Still have a bit of time, so Demon might be able to get this cleared out a decent bit, but Demon goes in.
Okay, Demon, you're a bit crazy. Charm connects in the end. You know what? For a 0-16 or 15 team, I respect that from Demon. That's a good way to die.
So Demon is thinking, oh god, there's a jungler. I don't want to 1v2, so he tries to commit for the 1v1. Sadly doesn't have the damage, but I need to stop his Elk. Might get caught up by Shanks.
Yeah, Shanksy with the Glacial Path, but nothing happens of it as Kedaya takes one too many turret shots. And so WE trying to get a response through mid after the bottom side dive, but turret stays standing. Ultra Prime now have full access to bot, to top. They use so much Lyric, and Ultra Prime just had to commit 2 ultis.
Rough for WE. I mean, right, they try to create the man advantage playing mid, which wouldn't be too bad if Demon hadn't gotten dove, because then it's like, fine, you're only leaving up pressure top, and theoretically you're banking on finding those kills mid to even out the score. But it's like, okay, Demon gets dove, you don't find the play mid, so you're not able to equal out the advantage anywhere, and suddenly, Ultra Prime's gold lead finally balloons once again. We're up to 4K!
But it's not like the first
everyone
game.
loves 4K.
Everyone does. 4K is good. There is actually 8K out now, though, which is kind of a mega pog. We'll pause once again. No television talk when Harry's on the screen. He's dead. Ladies and gentlemen, they got him. WE get their kill. They break that 7-1 again. But, Lyric, you know what I was going to say before. At least in last game, WE started with the laning phase. The non-proactivity really hurt them in mid-game. It's so funny we get a reverse where they tried to be proactive early. They got stomped. They had to quell it out a little bit. Now they're trying to be proactive again in a mid-game that last time around they couldn't really handle.
No, and like, for WE, right, it seemed like their takeaway from game 1 was like, that's fine, let's just keep going with this game plan. And again, I feel like them having more hard engage, them having a frontline this time around, definitely is a step in the right direction, but the fact that those weren't able to work out really hurts for them. I will say, though, we are in a position to see the reverse of what happened last game, which is maybe what WE wants. Lose in the early game, rely on the other bottom-tier team in the league to have an advantage that they will throw. It is very possible, but you can see WE been really afraid of trying to match numbers with numbers against Ultra Prime, have mostly been going towards where they haven't been, and it's giving a lot of freedom to the side of Ultra Prime. I mean, look, once again, getting some deep vision down in top side that could potentially give them those picks that they've been looking for.
Look, the trading's been huge, and on top of that, the CS difference as well. Good ward from WE, but Ultra Prime, as they move through River, are still angling for the pick. I was going to say, Lyric, you know, look at mid while we play this fishing game. 11 Magi stack, 30 CS lead. Cryin is the one as well, looking for the charm. Kedaya almost walking into it, but Cryin. My God, word is hard today. I even said that the sentence to explain that words were hard today wasn't good as well. Lyric, big Ahri. The Shanks are going to be getting out of the nick of time. Ultra Prime just gathering around River. Nothing up for another 35 seconds with the Herald up at his top side, and Ultra Prime do have control for the time being.
Ultra Prime just trying to maintain control of topside River because Herald coming up, 25 seconds. You can already see them kind of leaning Hery up towards his top side. It even decides to stay down a bot to catch the wave that Demon is pushing, and now has the cannon barrage available just in case any fighting breaks out in this top side.
Yoink, thanks so much for the leash. Level 11 here for Hacker. He's got a big CS lead as well. The vision still being threatened out as Cryin moves into Fog of War, but I believe it was spotted on a ward in the interim. As for WE's bottom lane being towards mid right now, not the greatest place to be, as Culling comes at an angle with the tidal wave as well. Cryin here with the Everfrost, but he's so deep now. Cryin for Magi's will almost be forfeited. He's lucky to be alive. Glacial Path taken. Hacker now here on the rise, and I can't believe they got Xing and Cryin didn't die. That was almost a disaster.
I think you put it perfectly. Cryin lucky to be alive. I mean, had Shanks been there, ultimate ready and waiting, that definitely would have been a 1-for-1. But still, Ultra Prime find the kill. They're going to be able to turn it into a Herald. Cryin also has TP, so can look to join in mid.
Good threat in here from Elk.
Don't even need to.
No, I guess not. All right, well, there you go. Second Herald, just give it over 5k gold lead. And, you know, we are going to get a replay here, Lyric. Of course, there it is. This was just so gung-ho and thinking he could burst Xing.
And Xing trying to predict him to continue going forwards, Shades of Corruption miss. And sadly, I mean, no real lockdown here. Demon, maybe he ulted him upwards towards that wall. Maybe, you know, they get the CC down, they're able to find the pick. Shanks nowhere nearby. But like you said, Cryin, extremely lucky to be able to manage to get away from there, but maybe not lucky right now.
No, over the wall, he's going to spot Shanks. No, Shanks backs away. There was no ward, no lens. And Cryin, I'm not going to say lucky to be alive. Yes, I am. Spirit Rush, he lenses them and gets out immediately, but still with those ultimates available as he continues to rush forward. Look at the angle on Hacker. They could be in a bit of trouble as Herald just gets dropped down in front of 3 WE members, Lyric. I guess Hacker really wanted to pursue the issue.
Yeah, and really awkward place. They don't even have a wave with them, so they're going to have to escort them themselves, trying to get a charge, and it looks like it's not even going to happen.
That is we've already had the golden bricks. Hacker, we can't get you in, but maybe next split. That Herald being one of the worst of the split is Ultra Prime just back away.
Look, Hacker is keeping up with his, you know, Ultraman moniker from the Chinese community of first 15 minutes, look at what this guy can do. Post 15 minutes, maybe we wind back the clock.
Yeah, somewhat. Lyric, I still got to blow my nose. You know, I just don't have time. You can take the game for a bit, because, you know, for me, can't sit here being snotty all night. So, hang on.
Oh,
like,
wait. Okay, no, I'll take it. Charm comes through. Everfrost in view. Sadly gets caught out. Hacker Cryin. Right place, right time. I hope Hysterics has blown his nose. It's Ultra Prime now.
Oh, yeah.
Gonna look for this, but Shanks is here.
Shanks' angle good as well. Glacier Path not to be taken. The Aqua Prison Charm was waiting for him. And look, that was kind of like blowing the nose, Lyric. A little bit messy, but successful in the end. Ultra Prime still with the gold lead, almost mid-turret going down as well. You just look at them advancing this lead, and with how sketchy things have looked, it still ends up being Ultra Prime favored. 17 stacks on the Jais now as well, by the way.
Even just looking across items, I mean, like Demon, a little bit behind in terms of second item coming through. Hery already sitting on that collector. We have 2 completed items for Hacker. Like, feels like they're so strong right now. I can't believe we're going this far back. Cryin spotting them out with the sweeper. I love the urgency to instantly get the hell out there because he would have been locked down by the ultimate. And then here, waiting in the wings for Hacker, for View to come through. Hacker, they're able to get the kick off and sets up for Cryin to come in and finish it off.
Well, boy, we are developing. WE, is this it? Is this really going to be how the split ends? You know, this game has looked rough from the minute go, from the triple kill to Cryin at 4 or 5 minutes into the game. Maybe it was more like 9, right? But it was still a big old doozy to give over. He now has Rabadon's death cap, and Lyric, let's roll through again. There's Engage on WE, but being this far behind, I don't think it'll matter that much unless Ultra Prime throw hell to the wall.
Luckily, Ultra Prime have also been the ones getting like all the dragons.
Yeah.
They have been stacking up these neutrals, and they seem like they're very confident in trying to force these aggressive plays that, again, if you're taking control of all this area with vision, it puts WE in the spot where they have to come into you, and is it all as bad that you don't really have any set engage?
Like
apart from Charm, apart from Everfrost, right? You have the Nami ultimate. Like, there's ways there. It is all just skill shots or conditional. Is Demon gonna look for the solo kill?
Yeah, Harry is flashing into stun after stun. Demon flashes and avoids everything and gets the kill. There you go, WE's top laner. Even if he dies, he goes out in style. It's a good ulti from Elk to poke them down. And now to deal with the rest of the wave as Ultra Prime have made it a top lane for top lane trade. WE bringing in Xing, but look at Hacker's angle. With the Sonic Wave, he threatens to make WE go 0-16 as inner turret goes down, Cryin with no ulti. I am waiting for that base-breaking team fight that will render WE into that moment as flashing into a charm by Shanks. Oh dear lord. He tried as now forward onto Kedaya. WE are setting up their engage loop, but no one's here. The kick finally comes through, and guess what? Even with the kill onto Cryin, Elk is still alive, trying his heart out as Xing Maybe I didn't give him enough credit as Hacker flashes in. Sonic Wave doesn't connect. Oh, you gotta give him something now as Kedaya flashes too. Demon's back in. These are our bottom of the barrel teams, but hey, Xing on the Varus as Miaoniu is back here as well with a great Aqua Prison. That will not matter. We get our bloodbath, we get our scraps, and we get WE fighting to stay off the bottom of hell.
Demon even managed to dodge out on the barrel damage by just hopping right through the brush. And now Miaoniu looks like he should be able to survive, and he will. But WE finding the fight they needed. It looked like everything was going to go heads up for Ultra Prime. And I'm curious to see in the replay here how the Lucian does end up going down. We're going to go all the way back to the 1v1. Demon just having confidence in running him down with the fact that his ulti's coming through, is able to get him knocked into that while Orange has to come out, and then managing to finish him off with the flash auto. Demon knows he's going to go down here, and Cryin, great read that the flash is going to come through with how aggressively Shanks is angling forward. So they get all this damage down onto him. And again, this is where it looks like for Ultra Prime, things are going to be going smoothly. They get a ton of damage onto view. They get Kedaya out of the fight. But it's right here. L trying to continue to go forward. Xing just left untouched this whole time to where he turns, and just with that Ginsu stacking up with the amount of DPS he has in pocket, able to take him down. And then I love that top laners rejoin the fight, especially for Hery here. Probably feels like he's locked in his own personal hell once the guy who just solo killed him rejoins the fight, able to dodge out on the barrel. And then it doesn't matter that the bubble does come through, because then Demon able to get up once again, gets the buff from the Lulu, getting some of that attack speed and finishes him off.
And here we are yet again. Shanks over the wall, WE. This game is comebackable as we're starting to see that engage coming to fruition. And Lyric from that last fight as we approach Dragon in 50 seconds. Before so, I have to apologize to two people. Demon, because I think he's had a pretty rough split, but he's on a rough team. That was his best team fight I've ever seen. Those mechanics were also sick with the predict on the W, but Xing played the fight so well on this Varus. WE have hope, folks. Can they go to Worlds? No. But can they survive here? That's going to be the next question as Elk starts with the culling. I was just complimenting Xing. He's taken up his HP, but at least he's got a Lulu to help him if the fight progresses as Shanks going to be poked out, but View's angle! WE's jungler! That's a triple cyclone knockup with Miaoniu being the first to drop down. Demon as well, healthy enough as Cryin jumps on in. Xing is toggled though, and he's down! That's not a good thing as Cryin wants more resets with the charm connecting. And just as we look at WE fighting off the bottom from a 0-16 split, Ultra Prime know that the opposite of down has to be up.
And it looked like everything was working out so well for WE in terms of the angle that View found. View finding a huge cyclone, but Cryin being the hero for the side of Ultra Prime, getting straight onto the back line. This is going to instantly turn into a Baron for up. And, I mean, we saw last time around Baron could be the thing that finally starts to push the game to where Ultra Prime can look for a close.
Look at the replay again. This is just so sad. It's like game one all over again, Lyric. The hope is not being restored.
And it's right here, right? View gets onto multiple members, but look at the angle that Cryin comes onto. Gets right onto Xing. Xing has to go golden immediately, but Hacker sitting right there waiting in the wings. They're able to take him down. That's the big source of damage for Team WE. Now without that, they're able to manage, continue running the rest of the members down. Of course, the three who did get initially ulted by View were just able to kite it down, take him out. And I feel like that had to be the final nail in the coffin. Yeah. You could see for Ultra Prime even managing to get on the Rift fast enough to be able to get themselves some soul points.
Lyric, I will not accept it. I'll not accept that WE are dead, right? When they fell out of playoffs, okay. You know, I went to the cemetery, I grieved with the rest of the fans. But for WE, I will not accept that, I don't know how darker we can get here, that this carcass is still rotting out. But WE, they can still win, Lyric. I don't want your analysis. I don't want any of your brain, your intellect, your composition. I just want the magic. And when you're running a demon versus Harry Potter, I believe in the demon, I have to say.
I gotta say, though, I feel like dead is too strong a word. I feel like last time we cast, we talked about Marvel as well, but I feel like this is WE's Thor when he goes through that, like, fat phase where he just sits on the couch playing video games. That's what WE are doing right now. Exactly, they can come back.
Good ulti under Cryin. He has to flash away with the Spirit Rush still available, but look at the Aqua Prison on the turnaround. Maybe it was Ultra Prime that was Thor, Lyric. I don't believe you. You set me up for failure as WE now set up for the unthinkable. 2 members dead, inhibitor getting taken down with Baron buff as well. Ultra Prime have the method as Hacker comes in for the kick flash, and Xing won't get his outplay yet again. Ultra Prime slap him in the face, and for WE, they align with history. Not only V5 will go 0-16 in multiple splits, but for WE, moving to that club, the 0-16 anti-dream has been achieved.
I gotta say, I lied. WE was not like Thor in that final sequence. Kudos to Ultra Prime, though. You know, the 0-16 storyline was really the only stakes that this match had, so we ran with it. But still, for Ultra Prime to end the season off on a high note, the fact that they've used LDL talent, Miaoniu, and now Hery coming into this series, and, you know, now having this data, now having these prospects that they can work on, Cryin ending off the split how he started it in a very strong fashion, feels like he has been the best player on this Ultra Prime roster consistently, to where, like, Elk maybe has had higher highs, but has also had way more lower lows consistently throughout this split. Just, again, nice to see for Ultra Prime, to where hopefully they can, you know, make the small adjustments, retool for next year, and then when I predict them once again to be a playoff team, I'll be correct.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like, it's not like a WE situation, right? Ultra Prime are not that far away from the middle of the standings. What we talked about a lot in the standings, like that 7th all the way to 17th. Maybe with WE, it being the exception here. 3-4 wins versus 7-8. There's only a couple of series where Ultra Prime, they win, and we could be talking about them being on the outskirts like a TT.
Not even series, right? You think about games. You think about their series that went to 3 games. They just needed potentially 3 games to go differently. Bam, they're now at that 7 record.
God, I can't believe it, though. For WE 0-16, it's a milestone, you know? We go back and we look at things like, you know, the car invented, right? You know, people driving around in automobiles. People are flying in the skies. Astronauts land on the moon. The 1969 lyric. And then V5 goes 0-16. We can't believe it. Then they do it in another split. And then finally, when we get down to it, when we think there's not going to be an important moment in our lives, in history anymore, WE goes 0-16 and show us that miracles and maybe somewhat magic is still in the air and still happens.
I feel like you are way too excited about this. If this was the first time, I'd be right there with you, but you know,
you know why? Because WE now are going to Worlds next year. Because when you 0-16,
No. V5 had to do it 2 years in a row.
Okay.
V5 just didn't happen like spring split then summer. No, V5 did it in 2020 and then 2021.
Yeah.
So you're kind of wishing this again on WE. And even then, I'm not impressed, because if it's done twice, it's already been done twice. It would need to be done 3 times for me to be impressed.
Look, WE, you know, they went to Worlds 2017. We all remember. Like, that was the biggest moment for WE. And like LGD, maybe they have to wait a substantial amount of years before returning back. So they had to go through this lyric in order to sprout, right? You don't go out to your back garden and you don't plant flowers over the top of the dead plants. You gotta get in there. You gotta realize what you're working with. And then if you pull it all out, then you can replant.
Surprisingly, the only takeaway I have from that is, like, when you said, you know, 2017, that's like what we think of WE for. The thing I actually think of WE for is that 2015 IEM, which is where they, like, first brought in Chie, and then they beat the GE Tigers and went on to face TSM in that final, which, if I remember correctly, I'm 99% sure they lost. But they beat the Tigers, which was super hype at the time, because that's when, you know, LCK dominance was at its height. So great job, Season 5 Team WE, and great job, Ultra Prime, today.
Look, Ultra Prime are an organization that even I